Hey everyone, it's Nell with Little Yellow House Crafts. Welcome back to my channel. Today is Saturday, March 7th. I can't remember what day it is, and I'm here to do an update video. I actually have notes today because last time I forgot a few things. It's been a while since I've made these videos and I'm kind of out of practice, so I might refer to my notes a little bit. I'll hope you bear with me. Also, please excuse the lighting. It's really beautiful and sunny outside. Spring seems to have come to central Missouri, but it does mean that the lighting in here is weird, so I actually have my shades down, but you can like see where the light's coming through the little holes in the shades. Just please bear with me. But this is the best lighting that I can find in the house right now, so we're just gonna make it work. So welcome. I don't know what number video this is. Most people like to say what number video. It's 40 something, I think. I want to extend a very special welcome to a very special person. I found out this past month that my sweet little 7-year-old niece, Sophie, has started cross-stitching and she watches my videos. My sister texted me to tell me that Sophie is watching my videos and she's learning how to cross-stitch. So I want to say, hi Sophie, welcome to my video. I'm so glad you've tried cross-stitch. It's the best hobby in the whole world, am I right guys? So I can't wait to see what you're working on. Make sure you bring it to Grandma's house when we're all there this summer so I can see your projects, okay? So very excited to have my niece Sophie with us. It's been a good couple of weeks. It's been a little over a week since I made a video and I've gotten a lot done again, so I thought, why wait? Let's go ahead and do a video. First of all, it's market weekend. I have been obsessively following everyone on Instagram and YouTube posting their market posts and videos. It's so exciting. We're all green with envy, those of us who don't get to go to market. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's the Nashville Needlework Market this weekend in Nashville, Tennessee, and this is like the big market event for the cross-stitch world. So if you are there, if you are a vendor or a designer or a store or whatever it is that you do when you're at Nashville, thank you for all your hard work. I know it's an exhausting weekend, but it's been so fun to get to watch all those posts come through and the new things that are out. So you're making me want to spend more money. Okay. First, I had some questions in my last video and I thought I would go ahead and answer them on here because some other people may have the same question. So first, Sally asked me, do you stitch two-handed on a frame? When I am stitching on my roll-a-frame, the answer is it depends. Sometimes yes. When I'm stitching on a roll-a-frame on my table stand at my dining room table, which is where I typically stitch during the day, that's kind of like the center of our world on weekdays. That's where we do homeschool. It's where we eat our meals. So it's kind of the central area. And so I just set my table stand up on that dining room table and I have something on there all the time to work on. And occasionally when I am working on my roll-a-frame on the table, I will stitch two-handed. I'll put my right hand behind my work and my left hand on top and I will stitch two-handed. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I stitch one-handed at my table stand. Just kind of depends on my mood, I guess. And then when I am sitting on the couch stitching in a Q-snap in the evenings, like watching TV or hanging out with my husband, then obviously I use one hand to hold the Q-snap and I stitch one-handed. So it just depends. Deborah, she asked, did you ever finish and or frame Mika, your blue bride? Oh, thanks for asking, Deborah. This is a blast from the past. If you've been watching me for a while, you may remember that a couple years ago, I stitched my one and only fancy lady I've ever stitched. I'm not really a Mirabilia stitcher or Nora Corbett, but I did stitch a lavender and lace pattern called the Bride. However, I converted it, and instead of making her a bride, I got rid of her veil and I converted the colors of her dress from like whites and creams to blues. I wanted a sapphire blue gown. I nicknamed her Mika after our dear friend in the Netherlands, Darling Bluebell, who loves all things blue. And I did finish her. I never framed her and I'm not sure I ever will. It's not really in my home decor style to hang that sort of a picture up. So she lives in my finish bin. I have a bin full of finished projects that I haven't fully finished. But I did bring her to show because some of you may not have seen her. So this is Lavender and Lace, The Bride, and this is my conversion in blues. Sorry for the weird lighting. Let me bring it up closer. So there's her face and her beautiful gown. I don't know if you can tell how vibrant those sapphire blues are, but they're very vibrant. You can see it a little better from back here. It's very beautiful. This is my blue bride. This is Mika. So yes, she is done, but she is not framed. I just dropped my notes on the floor. A couple things about her. People always ask what this blue fabric is. I just sewed some extra fabric around this because my piece, you can see my piece of linen was like the exact perfect size for Mika, but with almost no room to spare. So I sewed a little bit of extra fabric around it so it could go into my Q-snap more easily, and in case I ever do frame it, we've got a little bit more to work with here. But that is Mika. I stitched her in DMC. I do not have the conversion anymore. I am sorry if someone wants it. I figured it out, and then when I was done stitching her, I gave the chart away and I threw away the conversion. So I can't even tell you what the conversion was. I used, I don't know if you can see, there's lots of blue beads in her dress. I don't know if you can tell. They're in there. You can kind of see them when I hold her this way. You can see where all those blue beads are. And yeah, she's beautiful. I'm really proud of her. I'm so glad I finished her, but I don't know that I will ever stitch another fancy lady again. It was a fun experience. I did not stitch her skin 1/1. That sounded scary, so I just stitched her as charted, but that's Mika, my blue bride. So thanks for asking, Deborah. Sorry, had to pick up my notes. Let's see, Anita and Teresa. Okay, two ladies asked the same question. Anita and Teresa asked, do you have a video on pinning and lacing your projects? So in my last video, I told you how I like to pin and lace my projects myself before I take them to the framer to have them assembled. I do not have a video on pinning and lacing. I thought about making one, and then I thought, well, I wonder if anyone else has a video on this that's just as good. And I found one, and her name is Trixie Stitches. Trixie is spelled Trixie Stitches, and that's her channel name, and she has a video on pinning and lacing and preparing your piece for framing. I will try to link her video in the description box below so you can check her out. Her video is exactly how I do it. The only difference is I think she prefers to use mat board. I like to use acid-free foam core. And instead of using pearl cotton to lace my pieces, I like to use upholstery thread. But honestly, you could use either. Hers works perfectly well. She likes to use a very fine pearl cotton. I like to use upholstery thread, but it's the same idea. Yeah. So go check out Trixie Stitches if you want to try pinning and lacing your pieces yourself. It is not difficult. It's really not. When I go to have a piece framed, I take it to the frame shop, we calculate the size of frame we need, and then I have them cut me the foam core right there, and I take it home with me. So I know it's the exact right size, the edges are perfectly straight because they've cut them on their professional machines. Then I come home, pin and lace it myself, and then when the frame comes in, I take it in and they assemble it. So Trixie Stitches, if you want a good video on pinning and lacing your pieces, and I'll link it if I remember. I will try to remember. Last question. Lorraine asked, where do you order serged fabric? I mentioned in my last video that I prefer to order smaller cuts of fabric, the smallest size that will comfortably fit a project, because it comes pre-cut and they will serge the edges for you so it doesn't fray. I get almost all of my fabric from 123 Stitch. That is the most convenient place for me to order. Their prices are great. I don't think I've ever found lower prices on fabric anywhere, and they serge all of your fabric for you before they ship it to you. They do not sell custom cuts, unfortunately. At 123 Stitch, you can only get standard cuts, which for stitchers is you can get a full yard, you can get a half yard, you can get a fat quarter, a fat eighth, and a fat 16th of fabric. But they do serge them for you. At least they do the linen, and the even weave. I don't know that they always serge the Aida. I think I've ordered fabric from them before that was Aida and it was not serged. So it just kind of depends on the fabric. But Aida, there's not a huge problem with fraying like there is with linen or even weave. So I get all of my fabric from 123 Stitch and they serge it for you before they ship it. So those were all the questions. Thank you guys for asking those questions. Those are good. That's good information for anybody else who might have had the same question. I did have a question in my last video about my Mill Hill Santas. Someone asked if I would be willing to pull out my Mill Hill Santas and show you the ones that I have done. And I thought, well, sure. So here's a sort of like previous finish segment. I have with me the 11 that I have done, as well as my giant bag of ones that I want to do. And also, please bear in mind, I haven't bought any Mill Hill Santas in a couple years, so there have been some new series that come out, that have come out that I don't have. So these are the ones that I have done. I keep them in a Currier and Ives cookie tin from Christmas time. These, how many of us have tins like this that hold all of our sewing stuff? Like, that's like the running joke because everybody uses them. I also keep, when I finish a Mill Hill Santa, I actually keep the cover and the chart that it comes with so that I can refer back and remember which each one is called. I've done 11 of them. I don't remember what they're all called and I don't really want to waste your time and like, maybe I'll do it. We'll just see. Okay, I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. Maybe we'll do it this way. We'll just grab one of these and then I'll find it. So one that I finished more recently is the Feliz Navidad Santa. And this was from the Celebration Santas that came out in 2014. And the Feliz Navidad Santa is right here. Here he is. All of these are stitched on perforated paper. With DMC floss and beads by Mill Hill. I have not yet attached his hanger. I just use extra floss from the project to make a hanger. He will have a blue hanger, but I haven't attached it yet. So that is Feliz Navidad Santa. He's beautiful. I love it. I wonder if I put this behind it, if the lighting will be better. Oh yes, much better. So that's Feliz Navidad Santa. He's not quite as washed out now. He's adorable. Next I have stitched Williamsburg Santa from the Colonial Santa series. The Colonial Santas came out in 2013. And if you don't know, Mill Hill releases 3 Santas in a collection every year. So the Colonial Santas you'll see came in a set of 3, or they have 3. And I stitched Williamsburg. This is also a more recent one. So this is another one that I haven't yet attached the hanger to. Ooh. Hold on, let's put my paper behind him. There's Williamsburg Santa. He looks to me like Benjamin Franklin or Thomas Jefferson, someone holding the Declaration of Independence. I just love him. And he will have a green hanger that kind of matches his coat. So that's Williamsburg Santa. Next, next is Ireland Santa from the Celtic Santa series. This series came out in 2015. They had 3 in the Celtic Santa, as they always do. And I stitched Ireland. And here is Ireland Santa. He is so cute. And he will have this kind of red-brown hanger that matches his pants. So that is Ireland Santa. Next, we have from the Arctic Circle Santas. This is Nunavut Santa. And I remember a dear Canadian friend who watched my videos years ago when I first showed this one. I didn't know if this was a province or a territory. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Canadians, that Nunavut is actually a territory. It's not a province. Is that correct? Nunavut Santa. From the Arctic Circle Santas. These came out in 2009, that series. And here is Nunavut Santa. And he does have his hanger on. It's a dark gray. And he's just beautiful with his little polar bear friend. So that is Nunavut Santa. Another Arctic Circle Santa. I've done 2 from this series. This is Greenland Santa. Look at that sweater. his sweater. Greenland Santa is, let me find it. Here he is. Let's get him straight. There you go. There is Greenland Santa. And these are so fun to stitch. They don't take very long. I can whip out one of these in about a week. They're really nice when you just need a break from your usual stitching, because you stitch on perforated paper and you just hold it in your hand and you get to do lots of beading, and it's a nice little break from the routine. Next, I've stitched two of the Rocky Mountain Santas. This one is Teton Santa with a bighorn sheep. Look at that. That's Teton Santa, and these Rocky Mountain Santas came out in 2008. And here is Rocky Mountain Santa with his bighorn sheep. I love his scarf, his plaid scarf, and his beard. Those beards are my favorite, the loopy ones. Sometimes they're looped, sometimes you do cut them so that they're loose, but I love these loopy beards. I think they're so fun. So that is Teton Santa. The next Rocky Mountain Santa I stitched is Pikes Peak Santa with the bald eagle. That's a great one too. I love all of these. I have never actually seen a Mill Hill Santa that I didn't love and think was absolutely gorgeous. So I love them. Obviously, I have a bajillion. That one's Pikes Peak. Bring him in a little closer. His little satchel over his shoulder. Love it. Okay, a few more. Next, this is the Mountaineer Santa series. This is Mount McKinley Santa, and the Mountaineer series came out in 2004. So we're getting a little bit older here. Mountaineer Santa with his little walking stick. This is Mount McKinley. He has his mustache. It's getting a little out of control there. You can't see his eyeballs. There. And on this one, his walking stick you stitch separately and then you actually glue it on, which I think is kind of fun. So that is Mount McKinley. A few more, we're almost done. The next Mountaineer Santa, also 2004, is Mount Rainier. Look at that. Love it. Here's Mount Rainier Santa. And his little red bag is also stitched separately and then glued on. I think they used to do that more and they don't so much anymore, but that is Mount Rainier Santa. Two more. These last two are from the Appalachian Santa series. This one is Allegheny. The Appalachian Santas came out in 2007. So this is Allegheny Santa. And he has the little bear on his back. Woo! Don't drop it. Holding a Christmas tree, I love that. And that bear's adorable. The bear's bow is beaded and it's loose, so you can it moves and it's all beads. It's really beautiful. So that's Allegheny Santa. And the last one that I have finished is another Appalachian Santa, and this is Blue Ridge Santa with the raccoon. And Blue Ridge Santa does not have his hanger on yet. So he was a more recent stitch. And there he is with his little raccoon. And he will have a gray hanger that kind of matches the raccoon. So that is Blue Ridge Santa. And those are all the Mill Hill Santas that I have actually stitched. That's 11, so it's quite a few. But considering how long I've been doing these, it's not that many. I need to do some more. This, however, is my giant bag of Mill Hill Santas that I have not yet stitched. Let's just go through them really fast. If you are not interested at all, you can skip through this, but I know someone's gonna ask me to show the ones I have, so let's just do it. The last one in the Mountaineer series that I have not yet stitched is Mount Whitney. And these might have some glare, apologies for the glare, but I'm not taking them out of their packages. So that's Mount Whitney. I have two. I haven't stitched any of these yet, and I don't have the third third one in this series from these. These are the medieval Santas that came out in 2006, and I think I either bought these from a viewer or a viewer was so kind and sent these to me. I can't remember now, but these are the medieval Santas from 2006, and this one is Canterbury Santa, and this one is Saxony Santa. And there's a third one that is escaping me right now, but I don't have that one yet, so I need one more from the medieval Santas to finish that series. The last one in the Appalachian series that I have not yet stitched is Smoky Mountain Santa. And he's got the little puma or mountain lion or whatever you want to call that thing, a cougar. Go Cougs! So that is Smoky Mountain Santa. The last one from the Rocky Mountain Santas, sorry if you can hear my kids yelling. They are playing Legos and watching a movie. This is the last one from the Rocky Mountain series. This is Beartooth Santa with a beautiful deer. I love that one. I have actually stitched this one before, I think, as a gift for someone. And then I bought another one because I wanted it for me too. So I have not yet stitched this one for myself. So I've actually stitched 12 Mill Hill Santas. I only have 11. Okay, the last one in the Arctic Circle series that I have not yet done is Lapland Santa. Love it. The reindeer, so cute. And yeah, these came out in 2009, and this is the last one in that series that I need to stitch. Okay, next. I haven't stitched any of these in this series. This came out in 2011. These are the Southwest Santas. These are so cute. Desert Santa with his little donkey or his burro. That is Desert Santa. Then we have Mesa Santa. Look at his little cape or poncho or sarape or whatever you want to call it. So beautiful. And last one from this series is Canyon Santa. Another puma or cougar. Canyon Santa. Love those. Haven't stitched any of those yet. Also have not yet stitched any of from this series. This came out in 2012. These are the tropical Santas. So we have Christmas Island. I love Santa's Bermuda shorts. Look at those. Then we have Tahiti Santa. He's gone fishing. And we have Hawaii Santa with his surfboard. Love it. And his Hawaiian shirt. Love these. Haven't stitched any of the tropical ones yet. These are the Colonial Santas. You've seen I already stitched one, the Williamsburg, and these are the other two. These came out in 2013. We have Plymouth Santa and Jamestown Santa, and I'm literally just chucking these on the floor after I show them to you, so I'm gonna have a mess to clean them. But that's Jamestown Santa. We're almost there. You saw I stitched the Feliz Navidad Santa from the Celebration Santas. These came out in 2014, and these are the other two. We have the Merry Christmas Santa, which is the most traditional of all the Santas that Mill Hill has ever done. This guy is kind of the archetypal Coca-Cola Santa in the red suit with the white fur trim, putting presents under a Christmas tree. So that's Merry Christmas Santa. And this one is Joyeux Noël Santa. We have a French Santa with a goose. So that's Joyeux Noël. I did take French in high school, so my pronunciation might not be great, but I do know how to pronounce it. The last two that I have are the other two from the Celtic Santa series. I've already stitched Ireland. These came out in 2015, and we have here Wales Santa. Love it. And we have Scotland Santa in his kilt with his sporran. So that is Scotland Santa. So those are all the Mill Hill Santas that I have. I did hop onto the interwebs to check out which ones I have missed in the last few years since I've been gone. Let's see, and just in case you're not aware, in 2016, the year after they released the Celtic Santas, they released the Renaissance Santas. They have a Venice, a Florence, and a Genoa, or a Genoa. Is it Genoa? How do you pronounce that city in Italy? Someone correct me. I think it's Genoa or Genoa. Anyway, the Renaissance Santas were in 2016. In 2017, I love these. They released the Caribbean Santas, or the Caribbean Santas. They look like pirates. We have Barbados, Trinidad, and Jamaica. I could show you, but you're not going to be able to see. You could go look it up. Just Google Mill Hill Santa series and you'll find a listing of them. And then the ones from 2018 were the National Park Santas. So we have Yosemite, Grand Canyon, and Yellowstone. And then in 2019, last year, they did the South American Santas. They had the Pampas, the Andes, and the Amazon Santas. So I clearly have some to catch up on. I'm also, like I said, I'm missing that last medieval one, and I am actually missing a few of this series from earlier. They started in 1999, I think, and my earliest ones that I have are, I think, are 2004 or 2002. So I am missing a couple of the really early year series, and I'm missing, there's also a series in the middle of the ones I have somewhere. They're like the seafaring Santas that I also don't have, that are like sailors. I don't have that series yet either. So I got some more collecting to do and a lot of stitching of Santas to do, but thank you for whoever asked. That was fun to pull those out and take a look at some of my old Mill Hill Santas. Okay, let's talk about my stitching in the last 2 weeks. Whew, we're already at 25 minutes. Sorry, guys. I had some finishes. In the last week and a half. The first one that I finished was my Prairie School June. I stitched the big one. And the last time you guys saw this, I had most of everything in the bottom half done. I still had a few little motifs to do, and I had none of the writing up here. I finished all of it. Here it is. There is June. This little girl who's gardening. I just love her. She's so cute. So that is June by the Prairie Schooler. That is the third one now of the Prairie Schooler months that I have done. I have April and November and now June completed. I stitched that in all the called for DMCs I showed you last time, but we can take a look again because they're so pretty. Beautiful, soft, springy kind of country colors. This blue is so pretty. So those were the colors I stitched it in. They're all the called for colors, just DMC. Next one that I finished, this is an exciting one, another Prairie Schooler. I finished my folk eggs. I finished the last 4. These stitch up so quickly. I can stitch one of these eggs in about 2 or 3 days, depending on how much stitching time I get. But I finished folk eggs, which now means all 16 of these eggs are done. So I'm going to show you all of them and all of the vintage eggs that I stitched a couple of years ago. So a couple of years ago, I stitched Vintage Eggs by Prairie Schooler, which is in the same vein. And these are the vintage eggs. As I did with this series, I added a little bit of purple here and there because I wanted to. These are stitched on 18 count black Aida as called for in the pattern, because the pattern comes with an egg template for cutting out your mat board to finish them, and it'll only fit them if you stitch them on 18 count or 36 count. And so I just went ahead and stitched them on 18 count Aida. Since I was working on black, I was afraid to use linen. So that's 18 count Aida. Those are the vintage eggs. And then here are my folk eggs. 4 of these I finished a couple years ago. So here's 2. Those bunnies are so cute. And here's the other 2 that I finished a while ago. I love this bee skep. I think that one is so pretty. So those are the first 4 that I had done before I came back to this project. And these are the 4 that I've just finished in the last 2 weeks. There's that one. And all these little bunnies. Look at all those bunnies in all different colors. Love it. And then the very last 2, the butterflies and the, ooh, it is really washing out. Let's try this. Yep, that's better. And the little chicken with her chicks. I did change the colors of some of these. This flower was red. I made it purple. This top butterfly was browns. It was a brown butterfly and I didn't like it, so I changed it to the reds and pinks. So anyway, folk eggs is done. And with those 2 completed, with June and my Prairie Schooler folk eggs completed, that takes my number of current whips that I have going on down to 8. I only have 8 whips on the go, guys. I've really been knocking out the finishes. I've said it before and I'm saying it again. I want to try and get as many things done as I can before Mania, because I'm going to do Stitch Mania and I'm going to start a lot of stuff. So I'm trying to get my whip pile down. So I'm down to 8 whips. The last thing that I finished, oh, and the vintage eggs, or the folk eggs, excuse me, and the vintage eggs, I stitched in the called for colors, except that I did add this purple, which is DMC 208. I added that because I felt like it needed a little bit of springy purple. But these are the colors, and they're just DMC. They're the called for colors except for the purple. Last thing that I finished, this one I did not actually finish the stitching. I finished the stitching on this last year at some point. I don't remember. I did so very little stitching last year. I couldn't tell you when this one got done. But I finished Little House Needlework's Heart of America, which is a piece I had finished or started a while ago. And it came as a kit. It came with all of the classic Colorworks threads, or at the time they were called Crescent Colors, and they were the actual Crescent Color brand when I bought it. And it also came with 6 Just Another Button Company clay buttons to add at the end. And so I finished the stitching on this a while ago, but I hadn't added the buttons. So I pulled it out and I added the buttons. So now it is actually for reals done. Let me pull it back here so you can see the whole thing. It's beautiful. I love it. So there's a little sheep button that got added right here, a blackbird right there, an acorn button right there, and then down at the bottom, these 3 little black stars got added in the Land of the Free box. So Heart of America by Little House Needleworks is now actually completely done. I added the buttons, so now I can get it framed. This is definitely one that I want to frame, because this is one that I would hang in my house year round. It is kind of a patriotic piece, but the colors are not overtly patriotic. They're not like all red, white, and blue. So this is something that I would hang in my house all year long. So that's Little House Needleworks Heart of America. And that is now not fully finished, but like actually done. The buttons are added. All it needs now is framing. So those are my finishes. Got a lot done. Let's go to whips. I had 2 other things that I worked on this week. As I finished other projects, I would pull something out. This, excuse me, is another Little House Needleworks, and it's got my scissors in the bag. This is Battle Hymn of the Republic. And I pulled this one out because this is an easy one for me to work on my Q-snap when I'm sitting on the couch in the evenings. And before I only had a few of the words, and I've added a whole bunch more of the words. So I'm working my way down. I'm going to get all the way down to the bottom of the pattern, and then I'll go back up because the top bit is my favorite. The top bit is so beautiful. So I only have like 2 more lines of words to finish, and then this scrolly stuff at the bottom, and then I'll go and work my way up so I can do that beautiful bowl with the flags and the flowers. I just love that. So that was my first whip, and I bet I could finish this one before Stitch Mania 2, so I'm going to give it my best shot. I am stitching that with the called for colors, which this was one of Little House Needleworks' older charts because she charted it for all DMC. No fancy floss. So these are the colors. They're beautiful. This red, I love. This blue, I love. There's 2 blues, actually. I love this like tealy one too. So these are the charted colors. They're all DMC. And it's going to be gorgeous. Right now it's kind of boring because it's just all this lettering done in this kind of drab brown, but it's going to look awesome when I add in all the flowers and stuff. The last thing I've worked on, my last whip, that will not get finished before Stitch Mania. There's no way. And that is my Snooty Parrot sampler by Barbara Anna Designs. This is a huge piece. It's a big girl, this sampler. I love it, but it's a big one. I am stitching this on 40 count linen that was sent to me by a wonderful viewer a couple of years ago. I was just dipping my toes into 40 count, and a viewer reached out to me and emailed me and said, hey, I noticed that you were dipping your toes in 40 count trying to find the right color linen for my Liberty's Welcome by Plum Street Sampler. I'm pointing that way because it's out of this room, it's not in the room. And she said, I have some 40 count linen that I'd love to send you that you might be able to use. And I thought, oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Sure. I thought she was going to send me 1 piece of 40 count. She sent me 4. She sent me 4 fat quarters of 40 count linen. Not only was it 40 count, but it was all Lakeside She sent me 4 fat quarters of Lakeside linen. I was so overwhelmed with her generosity. That is not inexpensive linen. And she sent me 4 of them. So if you are watching, I don't remember your name, but that was one of the kindest, most generous things anyone has ever done for me. It was just lovely. So I'm stitching this on one of the pieces she sent me, which is Lakeside linen, Meadow Rue. She bought this from Traditional Stitches. This is 40 count Meadow Rue, not vintage Meadow Rue, just regular Meadow Rue. And here is what I got done. It's on my roller frame. So last time I showed this to you, all I had of the tree was the brown trunk. So I went in and added the branches, the leaves, the fruit. Adam and Eve got added, these 2 little lions, these initials here, these initials there. And that is what I have done on it. So got quite a bit done. I mean, this is 40 count. This is tiny stuff. Let me bring it in closer. Can you see? So pretty. I have decided to, the initials here, BB, is for my dad. Those are my dad's initials. And then we have A for Adam and E for Eve, and those are as charted. And then there will be another set of initials over here that will match this one, and that will say MB for my mom. And then I was looking at the pattern, and there's a few more places to put initials. Down here at the bottom, there are initials on either side of this house done in red, and those will be mine and my husband's initials. And then there's initials here and initials here, and then there's this little tiny over 1 work right there. What I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna do that tiny over 1 box. Instead, I'm gonna put my 3 sons' initials here, here above the house, and here. So we will have all of our family's initials on this piece, plus my parents, which I thought that would look nice. And that means I don't have to stitch this over 1. There are some other motifs over 1 in this piece. This is a over 1 motif, this tiny little flower, and it's over 1 on 40 count, so you can only do half stitches, and I had to have a magnifying glass to do it. I have pretty good eyes, but I was like, oh, it's so small. I don't like doing over 1 on 40 count. So that, if I replace that little box with another son's initials, I don't have to stitch it over 1. So that's what I'm gonna do with this Nudie Parrot sampler. Like I said, stitching it on 40 count Meadow Rue. I'm using all the called for fancy flosses. These are all Gentle Arts, and they're beautiful. Pinks and greens and golds mostly, and browns. And that is Snooty Parrot Sampler. Whew, those were all my whips. That's everything I did this week. Finishes, works in progress. If you don't know what a whip is, it means work in progress, a whip. So when I refer to whips, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, got a lot done. Okay, we're almost finished. I did have a little bit of haul, and then I have a question that I need to crowdsource an answer to from you guys. So the haul that I have, I was running a little bit low on a few Classic Colorworks colors that I'm using for my Early Americans by Little House Needleworks, and I was getting nervous because I'm only about halfway done, not even quite halfway done with that piece, and I'm not sure I'm gonna have enough, so I ordered 1 more of Muddy Puddle and 2 more of Hickory Sticks. I needed some more of those colors, so I ordered those. Whoops, I'm dropping stuff, sorry. Ordered those from 123 Stitch, and then because floss can't travel alone, never, you must order some sort of chart. I went ahead and got 4 of the Waxing Moon Designs house trios. These are so cute. I've seen them on a couple different people's videos. I don't know that I've seen a lot of them finished yet, but I love them. They're right up my alley. They're seasonal, they're colorful, and there's a whole bunch of them. There's like 8 or 9 of them out now. So I didn't get all of them. I got 4, but I bought Winter House Trio. Sorry for the glare. Look at those cute, the swirling wind with the snow. I just love it. So that's Winter House Trio. That's like a January decor in my house. The Valentine's House Trio for February. Look at those cute little houses. The Spring House Trio. So cute. And the last one that I got is the Easter house trio. And this is a new one. I think this is the most recent one they came out with. And this is the Easter house trio. So cute. So cute. There's more of them. They have a summer and a patriotic, which those are the next two I want to get. They have a autumn house. They have, I think they have a Halloween house. And then I think they have a Christmas one. I think. I don't know. But I got those four. The Waxy Moon Designs house trios. I got winter, Valentine's, spring, and Easter. So probably gonna try and put one of those in my Stitch Mania. Who knows? That was all my haul, just those threads and those charts. My last thing is this. Okay, I'm thinking about Stitch Mania. And I want to start a whole bunch of my monthly series that I haven't started yet. And I have quite a few. Just wait till you see how many more of them I have. I'm so embarrassed. I already have 3 going on. My Little House Needleworks Country Cottage Needleworks Cottages of the Month. My Joyful World Sal from the Snowflower Diaries. And my Prairie Schooler months. I already have 3 monthly series on the go. And I want to start more of them. So, one of the series that I want to start are the Word Plays by Brenda Gervais, and I have all 12 of them. And when I bought them on Stash Unload from a stitcher who was selling the entire series along with a piece of linen to stitch them on. It's a half a yard. It's a big old chunk of linen. This is a 35 count linen, and it's by R&R. And I've never stitched on R&R linen before. This is the linen by R&R. It's the color Abecedarian. And it's a big old piece. This is a half of a yard. This is a giant piece. So they've already got it folded into the 12 squares you can see right there, that you can stitch all 12 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, you can see from the fold marks. So it's a big old piece of linen. However, and I like the color. The color's nice. It's a nice neutral, kind of old vintagey looking fabric. However, this linen is incredibly crunchy. It's really, can you hear it? Okay, it's really, really crunchy. I've never stitched on R&R linen before. It's not as Zweigart base because the selvage is different. It doesn't have the orange selvage line, and it has this stuff, which Zweigart linen does not. So it's not as Zweigart linen. It seems like a nice linen. But it's incredibly crunchy. So here's my question, and I'm hoping one of you could tell me the answer. Can I wash this? And when I say wash, I mean wash in cold water on a gentle cycle, and I will not tumble dry. I will lay it flat to dry. If I wash it, will that take some of the starch and crunchiness out of it? Or will it ruin my linen / take all of the beautiful dye out of the linen that they use to make this beautiful color? Does anyone know? Can I wash R&R linen? Before I would wash it, I would probably go ahead and sew a zigzag over the raw cut edges. I don't think the selvage needs it, but over the raw cut edges, I would probably go ahead and I don't have a serger, but I would zigzag over them so it wouldn't fray. I wouldn't lose any linen from fraying, but I need to cut this down for Stitch Mania to start my word plays, and this linen is so crunchy, and I'm not loving the idea of stitching on it. It's such a huge piece of linen, and linen's expensive. I want to be able to use this. This is what that stitcher bought to do the word plays on. And I feel like I want to use it for that purpose. I have 0 problems using it. I like the color. I think it'll be great. But it's so, do you see how stiff it is? It's practically standing up in my hand. It's got a lot of starch and sizing in it. Can I wash it, or will it ruin the color? Nope. 1 more minute. Okay. 1 more minute. Shut the door. I'll be out in a minute. Thank you. I knew that was going to happen. I'm done. That was my last thing that I needed to say, so we can wrap up and I can go help my son. Answer my question if you would. If you know the answer, If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments and I will try to address them in my next video. That was a lot. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for looking at my stitching. Hi again, Sophie. And I hope you all have a great week. And I will... Henry, can you stop, please? Shh. Quiet, please. Kids. I gotta go. But I will talk to you guys soon, okay? Take care. Bye.